There is now documented evidence that the Palestinians had made an extraordinary offer to the Israelis, conceding even more of their land. But this was not news at the time. If there is no justice for the Palestinians, there will be a reckoning in the young generation.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. أنا اسمي خالد دحلان. اليوم راح نلتقي مع بعض أنا وياكم علشان نعمل اللي هو اللقاء حول الرسم الحر.
Dr. Dahlan runs a project for children in Gaza. He asked these boys to draw anything that was on their minds. Most of these children are traumatized by the fear and violence of the occupation.
The majority of our children exposed directly to the attack or to the bombardment by the Israeli army is traumatized. There is many symptoms. Children became anxious and depressed and make, for example, sleep disorder as nightmares or sleepwalking or something like that. Many children, they cannot concentrate well to study.
Nearly every drawing is of violence. Nearly every family in Gaza has lost someone, either to an Israeli jail or to violence. Dr. Dahlan's goal is to help the children keep the last thing that belongs to them, their sanity and their life.
There is a conflict between the Israeli soldiers with the tanks and the Palestinian kids who threw stones. And they cry, La ilaha illallah, there is no God except Allah.
What children in other parts of the world would draw as fantasy, they draw here as real life.
Yes, war and violence. This is a good thing to protect the children from the mental disease.
I don't want my child that I've been working on having for 15 years to come and when he's 10 years old, he goes to a settlement and he wants to kill Israelis. And the only way to stop all this suffering, now I will say it on both sides too, is to have a Palestinian state according to UN resolutions.
When will Israel agree to negotiate with the Palestinians, not for what they call a few Bantustans on the West Bank, but for a state that is as peaceful, as secure, above all, as independent as Israel itself?
Do you want Israel to concede the terms of that negotiation up front on television? Or is it better to agree to the general principle and then sit with the Palestinians in a face-to-face negotiation once they stop violence against us?
What about this, the general principle then of a state as independent as Israel?
We do not need a string of adjectives to agree to. You agree to the principle.
Well, that's a fair principle, isn't it? What's a state worth if it isn't independent?
What we're speaking about is our willingness to negotiate with the Palestinians, their self-government, and we are willing to create a Palestinian self-governing entity, some call it a Palestinian state, which will address the real needs of the Palestinians.
What right have you to create somebody else's homeland?
Well, we are being asked to negotiate that. We are willing to be part of that. We're willing to make a contribution to that. We are not going to upfront go into details about its geographic configuration or its powers. That's part of the negotiation.